You talking to me? Are you talking to me? Well, who else you talking to? I'm the only one here. Are you talking to me? Taxi Driver, released in 1976 and is directed by Martin Scorsese, who has also directed such films like Raging Bull, The King of Comedy, Goodfellas, Casino, The Departed, and The Wolf of Wall Street. And don't you dare mention superhero films around him, otherwise he has a stroke and he goes crazy. And this film is starring, of course, the amazing performance from Robert De Niro, Albert Brooks, Harvey Keitel, Sybil Shepherd, and Jodie Foster, who plays a prostitute and, in real life, was 12 years old. I really wish I could have spoken to those parents back then. I'm not a parent, and I don't want to be a parent, but what would possess a parent to go, yes, let's do that with your 12-year-old daughter? I will sign you up to be a prostitute in a film. Think you could have gotten someone who was a little bit older who could play younger to do that, but no, Scorsese went right for the 12-year-old. Travis Bickle is a lonely, depressed 26-year-old war veteran who takes a job as a cab driver at night. And as he drives around the streets of New York City, he sees all the filth and grime from the actual city itself and the people who inhabit it. But he does attempt to assimilate himself into the society, asking out a very beautiful young woman by the name of Betsy, even though his idea of a great first date is to take her to an adult movie. And after being rejected by his advancements after that event, starts to change his motivation in his life, where he vows to rid the streets of crime and corruption. And the main objective is to save a young child prostitute, Jodie Foster, from her pimp and Harvey Keitel. I have seen this film once before. I was actually taking a writing language arts class in undergrad. It was a gen ed, there was nothing special behind it. So sitting down, I was thinking, oh, we're probably going to read these old classic works and it's going to be very boring. But on the first day, we get the syllabus and it's about a bunch of movies that we're going to be watching and we're going to be writing reviews on them. One of my favorite classes I ever took. What a pleasant surprise, and I got to see a bunch of film that I never would have gone out of my way to see back then because I was so new to the whole vast history of cinema. I watched films like Thelma and Louise, West Side Story, and this was one of them, Taxi Driver. How this professor was approved to show the film Taxi Driver in his class, I don't know, but we watched it regardless. And even back then, watching it for the first time, I respected and loved the cinematography and just how into the muck Scorsese just throws us into. We see deplorable acts on the street, even people sitting in the back of his cab talking about their intents to, hey, drive me to this place so I can shoot this person. Or a guy gets in the back with a prostitute, seeing prostitutes on the street, driving by and seeing theaters that only were showing adult movies, going to said adult movies, and then seeing his obsession with all the guns that he buys. I appreciated the rawness behind that cinematography. Their character, though, back then and even today, I still find to be a son of a bitch. Robert De Niro gives an amazing performance. This is probably, if not his best, one of the best performances that he's ever given. I would assume that it's a toss-up between Taxi Driver and Raging Bull. The way he morphs his body when Travis's mind starts changing, and the way that he's able to portray this sociopath of a character, but with the essence of a child, his speech pattern, the way that he writes in his journal, it's very childlike. A lot of things are very surface level with him, or at least what he is allowing us, the audience, to see in this world that he's creating. And that's right, I don't know if this world actually exists. My theory is that this whole thing is a dream that he's having, whether he's coked out on the drugs that he's taking or whatever. I think this whole thing is a dream, because there are essence of dreamlike qualities. With the opening credits, all we see are just these blaring lights coming through the windshield of the taxi, and you see blurriness, you see lens flares, you see hard reds, you see hard greens and blacks, giving you the sense that you are in a type of dream state when you're watching this. And I think that totally bleeds over into this character. This character, Travis, like I said, is a son of a bitch, and he is a villain, yet the protagonist of this story. When I'm teaching my theater class and I'm trying to explain the difference between protagonist and antagonist and trying not to label one as the good guy or the bad guy, usually I throw out Batman and the Joker and then Harvey Dent from The Dark Knight, But I could also throw this one out there too, if my students have actually seen this movie, which they probably have not. I guess I could use the example of Joker from 2019, because there's a lot of influences in that film from this movie. Probably why Scorsese signed off on it. It is a fascinating character study. Though this character may have a very surface level mind, what this character represents is toxic masculinity. He represents gun fanatics. He represents people who are willing to go the extra mile and assassinate a famous politician. I think the guy who had an assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan said that he was inspired by this movie, which is never good whenever you're an artist and you're putting out there in the world, and then it inspires someone to do, or at least attempt to do, a very heinous thing. It's never a fun thing to hear as an artist, but that's the journey of this character. He becomes obsessed with guns. He always has it on his person. He's always holding it. He's always playing with it as if it's an extension of himself. It's a little toy that he can't let up and can't let go, because he has this inner desire to go out and make the world right, or at least right in his mind. And the way he thinks about doing that is saving this young child prostitute from this pimp. But even then, when we get to that climactic scene and he goes haywire and starts taking everyone out in the building, he gets shot in the neck, he's shot in the arm, he's shot multiple times, and yet he still lives and apparently goes into a coma, and he gets a letter from the child prostitute's dad saying, "Oh, thank you, we wish we could thank you, we would come out there, but we don't have the money, but gosh, you're amazing, you're a great vigilante." All leading me to believe that this whole thing is just one big dream, and it's all in his head, which makes this character, Travis, who the film is told from his perspective, we hear him narrating his journal entries over certain points of the movie, makes him an unreliable narrator. So when he's telling you one thing, that one thing is probably not happening, or if it's happening from his perspective and the way that he sees it and the way that he chooses to believe what happened, which is an interesting and fascinating choice from a storytelling standpoint, but it's also very frustrating because I don't know what to think about this character. In the end, though, I think this character is a son of a bitch. He's an atypical character. He doesn't really know social norms or social cues. He kind of just does his own thing, or at least the best of his understanding of how human beings are supposed to work. He asks this beautiful woman out on a date, and his idea of the perfect first date is to take her to an adult movie, like an actual adult movie. Let's go to the movie theater and sit down and share a thing of popcorn while we watch people fucking on the screen. I don't know. I don't know what would possess him to think that that was cool. And then the most famous line from the movie, "You talking to me, you talking to me," all improvised. He just stood in front of a mirror. Martin Scorsese had him do it and just recorded his reaction. You know, he has all of these guns on his person. He just made configurations to quickly snap it out and shoot whoever he needs to shoot. Yeah, when I talk about things like that in this movie, it just pisses me off. If you know me, I'm not pro-gun. I think that a lot of people consider them to be like their personal property, when in reality it's really just toys, and you don't want people to take their toys away from them, even though other people are not using them correctly. There should be laws that are put down, but they're like, no, don't put laws on my guns because it's my gun. It's my right. I don't want to get political at all. It's just really hard for me because seeing all of this, it's just, God, what a son of a bitch. Are you talking to me? You talking to me? Just that toxic masculinity again. God, I feel so tough and such like a big man with all of these big guns on me. He's a son of a bitch, but he is a fascinating character. This is not a movie that I want to go back and watch again and again and again. It's nice to revisit every once in a while just to have that little taste of the 70s, which a lot of people consider to be the golden age of cinema. So many great films came out in the 70s. Star Wars, The French Connection, The Godfather, all of these great classics. And this one just added to the list. It's a movie that's not going to be for everyone. If you're watching it for the first time, it's a very good chance that you may not like this story, and you may not like this character, and you probably never watch it again. Other people will watch it and think, oh, it's a masterpiece. I love watching this character and his descent into madness, or his descent into his interpretation of heroism. It's a movie that can spark really good conversation and debate, which really good art always does. I'm going to give Taxi Driver 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next, and I've actually chosen the next couple of reviews on my channel because there is another movie that's coming out on HBO Max later on this month that was supposed to come out in theaters last year, and then, you know, the whole pandemic thing hit, so now HBO is saying, hey, we'll do it in theaters, but we'll also release it here on our streaming service the exact same day, and that's Godzilla vs. Kong. And I thought it'd be very interesting to go back and just review the entire MonsterVerse franchise. There's actually films in there that I have not watched. Godzilla 2 I have not seen before. So if I'm going to watch the new release of Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max, I guess I gotta catch up on the whole thing. And I never get to do this. I never get to see a new release on the day that it's released. I usually wait at least like until Sunday of opening weekend. That's the earliest that we would usually go. All being there with other people and they're chomping popcorn very loudly and they don't have manners. Some people turn their cell phones on. Here, I get to watch a new release in the comfort of my own home. So yeah, I want to do that. So we're going to kick things off with the first installment of this Warner Brothers MonsterVerse with Godzilla. We'll check that one out next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. And if you want me to do your recommendation as quickly as I possibly can and bypass the whole random generator that I have here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do, just attach your movie with the donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it and publish my review of it as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen Taxi Driver? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Godzilla. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.